My beloved brothers and sisters, sometimes the most difficult thing in life is trying to smile. When your heart feels heavy, you wake up in the morning carrying the same worries you had yesterday, and deep inside you ask yourself, how can I feel happy when everything around me seems to be falling apart? But remember something very important. Allah never promised that happiness would come from having a perfect life. In fact, this world was never meant to be perfect. Challenges, delays, and moments of sadness are all part of the journey. Allah reminds us in the Quran. Indeed, in the remembrance of Allah do hearts find peace. Quran 13:28. This verse teaches us a powerful truth. Real peace does not come from money, success, or people's approval. Real peace begins inside the heart when it remembers its Creator. For a believer, happiness is not pretending that life is easy. It is not about forcing a fake smile while ignoring your pain. Instead, it is about choosing hope even when the road feels dark. True happiness is an act of faith. It is trusting that Allah's plan is always better than our own understanding. It is whispering Alhamdulillah, even during difficult days, believing that every hardship carries hidden wisdom. Sometimes we think happiness will arrive when our problems disappear, but the believer learns something deeper. Happiness is not waiting for life to change. It is learning to trust Allah even while life is challenging. When your heart truly believes that Allah is with you, something beautiful begins to happen. Fear slowly becomes patience, anxiety turns into trust, and sadness begins to soften with hope. So even if today feels heavy, remind yourself of this simple truth. If Allah is guiding you, protecting you, and listening to your prayers, then you still have more blessings than you realize. And that is where true peace begins. My beloved brothers and sisters, many people believe happiness will finally arrive when life becomes easy. They tell themselves, when my problems disappear, when my dua is answered, when everything goes according to my plan, then I will feel peace. But the believer understands something deeper. This dunya was never meant to be perfect. Allah created this life as a place of tests, patience, and growth. There will always be moments when things feel uncertain, when doors close and when the heart feels tired. Yet happiness for a believer does not come from having a life without problems. It comes from having a heart that trusts Allah. When a person truly puts their trust in Allah, their perspective begins to change. A delay no longer feels like a punishment. A closed door no longer feels like the end. Instead, the believer begins to see these moments as part of a greater wisdom. Sometimes what we think is a setback is actually Allah protecting us from something we cannot see. Look at the life of the Prophet Muhammad. He faced rejection, hardship, loss, and many painful trials. There were days when the world felt heavy around him. Yet the companions described him as someone who smiled often and treated people with kindness. His peace did not come from a life free of struggle. It came from his deep reliance on Allah. This is one of the most beautiful lessons of faith. Faith does not remove the difficulties of life, but it gives the heart strength to face them without losing hope. A believer may feel sadness, a believer may cry, but their heart always knows where to return. When life feels overwhelming, turn back to Allah. Even a few sincere words in dua can calm a restless heart. Even one moment of sujood can lift a weight you have been carrying for a long time. Never forget that Allah sees every struggle you go through. Every tear you shed is known to Him. Every prayer you whisper is heard. Every moment of patience is recorded. And even when the answer seems delayed, Allah is still working behind the scenes, preparing something that may be better than what you asked for. So hold on to hope, because the one who created your heart knows exactly how to heal it. My beloved brothers and sisters, one of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking that happiness is something far away. Many believe that joy will only come when they finally achieve something big in life. More money, more success, or recognition from others. But the believer understands a deeper truth. Real happiness is not found in what you own. It is found in what your heart is connected to. When the heart is connected to Allah, even the smallest moments in life begin to feel meaningful. A quiet morning, the sound of the adhan, a sincere dua, or simply saying Alhamdulillah can bring a calmness that the world cannot give. This is the beauty of faith. Faith reminds us that nothing in our life happens by accident. Every delay, every challenge, and every unexpected change is part of Allah's perfect plan. Sometimes we only see the difficulty in front of us. We become frustrated because things are not happening the way we expected. But Allah sees the full picture while we only see a small part of the story. What we call a delay may actually be protection. What we think is a loss may actually be Allah guiding us towards something better. When your heart truly understands this, something beautiful begins to happen. You stop comparing your life to others. You stop feeling jealous of what people have. Instead, you begin focusing on improving your relationship with Allah. And that is where true contentment begins. The believer finds happiness in simple acts of worship. Praying on time, remembering Allah throughout the day, helping others, and showing kindness to people. These small actions slowly fill the heart with light. And over time, that light becomes a source of strength. Even when life becomes difficult, the heart remains steady because it knows that Allah is always near. And when Allah is near, you are never truly alone. So if you ever feel lost, return to the one who never turns his servants away. Because the heart that remembers Allah will always find its way back to peace. My beloved brothers and sisters, there will be days in life when your heart feels extremely tired. Days when you wake up and the same worries follow you from morning until night. Your mind becomes filled with questions. And sometimes you feel like you are carrying a weight that nobody else can see. But even in those difficult moments, the believer still has something powerful: hope in Allah. Faith does not promise a life without struggles. Instead, it gives you the strength to move forward even when life feels uncertain. When your heart is connected to Allah, you begin to realize that every hardship carries a hidden purpose. Sometimes a door closes and we feel disappointed. We ask ourselves why things did not go the way we planned. But later in life, we often realize that what felt like a loss was actually protection from something that was never meant for us. Allah is Al-Latif, the most gentle and subtle. His wisdom works in ways we cannot always understand immediately. There are moments when the smallest acts can bring peace back to your heart. A quiet dua whispered sincerely, a few moments of remembrance, or simply placing your forehead on the ground in sujood and speaking honestly to Allah. These simple acts reconnect your heart with the one who controls everything. You may not be able to control every situation in your life, but you can control how you respond to it. You can choose patience instead of anger. You can choose gratitude instead of constant frustration. And slowly, these choices begin to protect your heart from negativity. When you trust Allah deeply, something beautiful begins to happen. Your heart becomes lighter. You stop chasing things that were never meant for you, and you stop worrying so much about what others think. Instead, you focus on living a life that pleases Allah. And when your heart begins to live with that intention, a quiet and lasting peace enters your life. A kind of happiness that does not depend on circumstances, but on your relationship with your Creator. That is the peace every believer is searching for. My beloved brothers and sisters, one of the greatest keys to peace in life is gratitude. Many people spend their days focusing on what they do not have, what went wrong, or what they are still waiting for. Slowly, this mindset fills the heart with frustration and sadness. But Islam teaches us a different way to look at life. Allah reminds us in the Quran that if we are grateful, He will increase us. This promise is not only about wealth or material things. It also includes peace in the heart, clarity in the mind, and blessings in the life we live every day. Gratitude changes the way we see the world. When you begin to thank Allah for the small things, you start noticing how many blessings already surround you. The ability to breathe, the food on your table, the family around you, and the opportunity to pray are all gifts many people overlook. The believer learns to appreciate these blessings instead of constantly comparing their life with others. Comparison is one of the fastest ways to destroy peace in the heart. When we always look at what others have, we forget how much Allah has already given us. But when a person focuses on gratitude, their heart becomes lighter. They begin to see beauty in simple moments, like a peaceful morning, a kind word from someone, or the comfort of making dua. These moments remind us that Allah's mercy is present in every part of our lives. Gratitude also protects the heart from envy and negativity. It teaches us to trust that whatever Allah has given us right now is exactly what we need at this moment in our journey. And whatever we do not have yet may simply mean that Allah is preparing something better. Even during difficult times, a believer can still say Alhamdulillah, not because life is perfect, but because they trust that Allah's wisdom is greater than their understanding. A grateful heart finds peace even when life is not easy. So my dear brothers and sisters, take a moment every day to thank Allah for your blessings. The more you appreciate what you have, the more your heart will feel calm and content. Because gratitude is not just words. It is a path that leads the soul toward true peace. My beloved brothers and sisters, sometimes in life we feel trapped by our struggles. We wake up, and the same worries follow us from morning to night. The weight of past mistakes, delays, and uncertainties can make the heart feel heavy, and it seems like there is no way forward. But the believer carries something that the world cannot take away: hope in Allah. Faith does not promise a life without challenges, but it gives the heart strength to face those challenges with patience and trust. When you truly rely on Allah, even the hardest situations begin to feel manageable. What seemed impossible becomes a chance to grow closer to Him. Life may not go as planned. Doors may close. Dreams may feel delayed. But these moments are never wasted. Allah is Al-Latif, the most gentle and subtle, and His wisdom reaches us even when we cannot immediately see it. Sometimes a hardship protects us from something worse, and a delay is a preparation for something better. The believer knows this truth. Happiness is not about perfect circumstances. It is about how we respond to life. It is about choosing gratitude, patience, and remembrance even when everything feels heavy. Small acts of worship can completely transform the heart. A sincere dua, a quiet moment of sujood, saying Alhamdulillah sincerely, even a kind word or a smile for someone else becomes a source of peace. These simple actions fill the heart with light that cannot be taken away. When you trust Allah and surrender your worries to Him, your heart becomes lighter. You stop chasing what is not meant for you. You stop worrying about what others think. You begin to live intentionally, seeking to please Allah in every thought, word, and action. And when your heart is anchored in Him, you find a happiness that is quiet, deep, and lasting. It does not depend on wealth, status, or the opinions of others. It comes from the certainty that Allah is near, watching, listening, and guiding every step of your journey. So, my dear brothers and sisters, even when life is hard, remember that no struggle is wasted. Every test, every tear, every moment of patience brings you closer to Allah and prepares your heart for true peace. Trust Him, remain patient, and never lose hope. Because the believer knows this secret. Happiness is not found in the absence of trials. It is found in faith, trust, and connection with the Creator.